welcome into Talk FCB and welcome back here to the channel, guys. And it is still the international break, and sadly it is still going to be that for several days now. We have been trying to find some news, and today we are going to be discussing our defensive crisis. And it is a crisis right now. We have got injuries galore. What are we going to do? How are we going to overcome that? And exactly how serious is our defensive problems? And most importantly, are we going to bring in anybody in January to help us out and give us that push? All of that and more coming up today. Let's do this. But first of all, guys, just to follow on from the story that I brought you in the last news roundup video a few days ago now, it's on Paco Alcacer. Now, according to very reliable sources in Germany, this deal is basically done. Borussia Dortmund will sign Paco Alcacer at the end of the season. They have a buy option of 23 million euros, which will be combined with the 2 million loan fee from this season to make an overall fee for Paco Alcacer of 25 million euros. They will exercise that option at the end of the season. They've got to do it by June the 30th. And according to these sources in Germany that are reliable, it's all done. Dortmund have the right to do it. Barcelona cannot do anything about it at all. And for the man who simply can't stop scoring right now, he's going to be leaving us. And just a side note really on Paco Alcacer, I was actually at the Principality Stadium in Wales on Wednesday. He scored twice for Spain. They absolutely blew us apart. No chance at all there against Spain. But it's absolutely incredible to see what confidence and game time can do for any player, but especially a forward player like Paco Alcacer. He thrives on chances, he thrives on that bit of confidence about being in the right place at the right time, and genuinely on Wednesday, anything in and around the area you thought he was going to score. He took both of his goals absolutely brilliantly. They were sensational finishes, two different types of goals, and he really looked like a fantastic player going forward, and I wish him all the very best. And actually, according to those same sources in Germany, they actually went as far to say Paco Alcacer has already agreed a contract with Dortmund until 2023. He'll earn about 5 million euros net per year, and that has all been agreed. So like I say, it's pretty much deal done. But like I say, guys, the main focus of today's video is all about our defensive crisis right now. And I'm going to start here with Samuel Umtiti, and it's basically that he could miss now several months with an injury. It's a knee problem that he's had now for quite a few weeks. I suspect that maybe there was a few things at the World Cup which maybe escalated. Obviously, you play through the pain in those kind of games. Obviously, France going all the way. And Umtiti has basically been trying to overcome it in recent weeks without going to surgery. And the club have been waiting and waiting and waiting to see if anything could be done. But nothing right now has really worked. Surgery is looking more and more likely as the time goes on. And if he did have surgery on that knee, it would leave Samuel Umtiti out for several months, at least until early 2019. And that right now leaves us in major trouble for a man who usually is so consistent, so good, and as you can see in recent weeks, we have missed his presence. And then it's as if that isn't quite bad enough. When you're on international break and things aren't going your way, there's always something a bit worse round the corner, and Thomas Vermaelen was actually in action yesterday for Belgium against Switzerland in the Nations League, and he was subbed off with an injury after 72 minutes, and it wasn't just a knock either. It wasn't just a coming together, a bit of a collision. It was a muscle-related problem. He went straight down the tunnel when he went off into the dressing room, and that is never, ever a good sign for a player when they come off injured. If they go off injured, then they go and sit on the bench, maybe put some ice on it, there's no problem. But when you go straight down the tunnel, you are having something then a bit more serious. And as it would stand, with Umtiti and Vermaelen currently injured, we are left with Gerard, Piqué and Clemént Lenglet as our only fit centre-backs. Just two, that is it. And it gets even worse really when you consider the fixtures that we've got coming up in this massive month of October, the likes of Inter Milan, Sevilla, Real Madrid, up to 3 games a week, just a few days rest in between each one. Having just 2 centre-backs available to you, that is a very difficult situation to manage, and especially when it's not only that, you consider then the likes of Jordi Alba. We're also relying on him not picking up an injury, because if he does, we have no first team alternative for him either, so that leaves us with no room for error. Nobody can get injured, nobody can get tired, and if I was Valverde, you would already be getting somebody like George Cuenca from Barcelona B, get him ready and get him up to speed and get him ready to be thrown in, because at some point we are going to need it. We're going to need those reinforcements. We need to get it from somewhere, because I feel already already. Like, we should have been preparing Miranda. We should have had him some minutes already in that left-back role, because there could be a scenario right now where we desperately need these guys. And that's why I think, in general, aside from all of these issues, and obviously nobody could have seen this kind of collateral damage coming, but at the same time, you've got to put a bit of faith in youth. And the reason for that is they're not going to expect to play every game, but then when you need them, they're there and they're more ready than they are if they're never playing. And that is why just a bit of faith in youth, just a few minutes here and there, just include them in a few squads to give them some confidence. And then when you really need them, when you're really, really thin on the ground with reinforcements, you can bring somebody in and they're up to speed a bit more. Right now, we're in a massive, massive problem because we haven't put any faith in youth. None of those players are really ready to jump in, especially to these massive games. So we leave ourselves open, and that is why preparation and bringing in youth and doing it slowly is really, really important, not just in these situations, but to help your team in every single way. I think it works. And that does bring us swiftly on to our urgent need for defensive reinforcements, not only in terms of youth, but also in terms of potentially bringing somebody in January if Umtiti's absence is going to be a long one. And Matthijs de Ligt has certainly been in the Catalan news recently. He's been regularly appearing on the cover of Sport, MD, all of the local papers in Barcelona, picking up on our interest in de Ligt. And it is clear now, Barcelona in January are going to try and get him. They're going to go to Ajax, they're going to negotiate. De Ligt, I think, is open to a move, but right now, it isn't clear whether it's going to be successful. There is so many clubs interested in him right now. Ajax themselves want to desperately keep him until the end of the season, but like I said, those injuries have pushed the green light. We want to get de Ligt in January. Whether it'll happen though, we don't know right now. And it's not just de Ligt that we're going to be talking to Ajax about either, because we still do have a firm interest in their midfielder, Frenkie de Jong, who is another man where I feel has got a massive, massive future in the game. Still only 21 years old, suits our midfield absolutely perfectly, and Sport believe that those two Ajax talents, de Ligt and de Jong, they will be available combined for a fee of 130 million euros. And for that price, we are not the only people interested. Man City, Guardiola, they want both of these players right now, and I would actually say Man City are our biggest rival right now to try and get these guys. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens, because I think looking at that fee, 130 million for both, you look at maybe 65 million for each player. In the modern market, that is not bad at all. Because just like I said in the last video, with these guys, de Ligt at 19 years old, de Jong at 21, you're going to get 10 years each out of these two as long as they mature and grow in the way that we expect. Because right now, the talent is there. It's absolutely clear. They're massively talented. They've got a lot of qualities between them. And there's no doubt at all, in their profiles, in the way that they play, they fit Barcelona like a glove. And that is massive to me. So I think both of those players would be welcome at Barcelona. It's not going to break the bank if that fee is to be believed. But in January, we will go to Ajax and we'll see what happens. And just finally, guys, I do want to discuss Ernesto Valverde and most importantly, Pep Segura, who you all know I don't really like. Pep Segura, he's somebody who's the general manager of Barcelona and always seems to sort of lurch to one bad decision to another. And he actually did an in-depth interview, it was an exclusive to their paper, and he basically said, right now, there is no alternative for Valverde. Valverde is our plan A and Valverde is our plan B. He said, we're not thinking about anyone else, and all of that leads to Valverde staying at Barcelona until at least the end of the season. And that for me wasn't really too much of a surprise. We don't really sack coaches mid-season, but I hope the board are planning. I hope that somewhere right now they're thinking of alternatives. They're thinking of different coaches who, if the worst happened, could come in and take control at Barcelona and suit our club, because we cannot lurch to one bad decision to another. They need to have a plan. They need to have a plan in place, ready for if Valverde goes, somebody else comes in. And that no alternative, no plan A, no plan B, it's all about Valverde. I'm not quite sure right now whether that's the best approach. But as always, with the Spanish media, there is always different side to the coin. Even though Segura told Sport there was no alternative, they have come out a few days later and they say there is an alternative, and it is none other than Real Betis's Quique Setién. And Sport do say, as of right now, Quique Setién is in the mind of Barca when it comes to the coach. If the worst happens and either Valverde went mid-season or possibly at the end of the season, Betis are doing very well under Quique Setién. He got them into Europe last season, but it's not only about the progress, about the results, it's about the football. Quique Setién has played some of the best football that Spain has seen over the past few years. He gets the maximum out of the players that he has, and I think personally he would be a fantastic coach for Barcelona on a personal level, with the players, getting the best out of them, really, really bringing everybody together, and also the style of play is exactly what we want to see. And so that is basically the news over the last few days, guys. Please leave your thoughts in the comments down below with everything that we have discussed in today's video. What do you think of our defensive crisis? How do you think we get out of that right now? And can we really navigate our way through the difficult month of October? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And as always, I'll be back soon with more updates. But until then, as always, Vasca el Barça.